everyone, it is Canada Day in Rosekill Sandbox, and today's video, we're gonna be added for many more of those locomotives right on this verse. So welcome back. I'm not sure. I'm back in Roblox, and I'm completely attended for the Canada Day, even for those red trains before, as we might see to look at this, because there aren't people since the beginning of this video, including the last video as well, or the last or previous video as well, because previously that I just made this thing as I just tried to film for almost around for 3 minutes, as we're gonna be going to try to spawn many locomotives as possible, but I might see any kinds of part of like these things as well. But how locomotives that I just completely spawned because of this frames per second, that you really remembered that I'm the last time that we're playing for Rosekill Sandbox, and this isn't going to be going to the end of this video or the series from their gaming, because I'm downfalling for the gaming as well. So the first thing that we just spawned, the GP40-2 Canadian Pacific and the GE ES44AC. So we're gonna be keep on coming all the way out of here, as we're gonna be try to sound the horns like there's something like else. We're gonna be spawning Canadian Pacific. Alright, let's start with the Canadian Pacific all the way throughout the top, and it's not gonna be even possible to do so as we're scrolling down, and I didn't identify it as a Canadian Pacific locomotive. So I never find out what a Canadian Pacific locomotive is, but I guessed what? That must be the Canadian National Railways locomotive. But any Canadian Pacific that we're just started in, let's put it all the way here using as the EMD SD70, as we just completely spawn over here. But I got my controller, I got the DCC controller as anyway, and the programmer could make the train horns loud, but unfortunately that is not existed as well. So all over the Canadian Pacific locomotives, we'll continue to scroll down for some more Canadian Pacific locomotives, which actually isn't gonna be existed like itself for the AC44 DC or the AC44 DC. I'm probably should that we're gonna be continue to scroll down, and actually some more of those locomotives, and there must be a CPKC. There must be MKT locomotives such as Alco. And what about for the Canadian National locomotives? I'm possibly that we're never slightly dead. And there must be another Canadian Pacific locomotive. And one more it is going to be the CPKC instead of a slug locomotive. So probably that is similar for the Unstoppable reference, such as the CBKC, like there's someone that's actually really like this. But I just already summoned in, and unlike for this copy of those schemes as well, we're gonna be sounding the horns as the Canadian Pacific. I really does hope that I'm going to crash from my computer, as really try to get things straight. So let's just gonna be move all the way to the back, but unfortunately I didn't see that the sheds are gonna be probably over here. So let's spawn for the Canadian National Railway, which is who's gonna be your favorite Canadian National Railways fans. So let me know down in the comments which is gonna be if your favorite of those for the Canadian National Railways or the Canadian Pacific across United States, or going south down to Mexico as even possible. So I just spawned the GP9. as really as possible, like unlike the Alco RS7 or the Alco GP9 as well. So the that we're going to be using for the Canadian Pacific locomotives is one with the engine off, but this is actually aren't going to reveal for very that much. So hopefully it's going to be revealed in a minute. And I just spawned the SD40, I mean the EMD SD40 around this earlier. So I'm not going to be going to do so as well, but it completely spawns like in front of there. So that was pretty good like sound with this pretty earlier as well. Let's scroll down a little bit, and we need for something like more of the Canadian National Railways train. Is it gonna be the SD70? And I'm not sure. It was gonna be for the SD40. And you mean some sort of an SD90? Or like this thing train as anything it was? I just spawned for the SD40-2 and the SD70M-2 from the late model, from its shops as well. So I never pretty it was that should be able to get for some more locomotives by scrolling it down, except there must be kind of game passes or completely a lot. So we suggest that we're going to be completely spawning a lot of locomotive. Oh yes it is. That's sweet. Going to be bluing from my mind as well. There's another SD40 that I'm just going to spawn in. But let me just wait for a few seconds. But I should be able to try again. It's still gonna be working for just whatsoever as well. And so it completely did as well. And I just spawned another locomotive as well. And I just realized that shouldn't be able to get for spawning more locomotives as well. Should I just try to sound them all? And another locomotive is the EMD F7M. I mean, this is not going to be going for what it is. I just spawned for 2 of those SD40s-2s, which is pretty a lot to be more insanely like it's not going to be for this fault. So unlikely we're going to be trying to spawn in as really fast as possible. That I just spawn a B unit, and I'm probably sure that is not going to run for so well. As you can see this, we spawn the F7A and F7B and the SD40-2, and there's no dynamics mod, which is pretty terrible. So I might probably we're gonna be trying to sound them all with those 2 EMD SD40s. So unfortunately this is not pretty the part of for some sort of like these things as well, not the part of for the row scale videos. I mean, we're just gonna be trying to spawn them all. And the last row scale videos should be like unknown. This is the Canadian Pacific locomotive. And another one could be the B unit. And please don't be some sort of an opposite like directions it is. And this is gonna be probably to couple this, but unfortunately it was a no. And let's just continue to scroll down and we'll see if we're having another amount of locomotives we got. Oh, damn us it is. 3 Canadian Pacific locomotives with this a first one. Well, am I going to sound them all? and which is pretty that we're gonna be very sure that we're sounding the locomotives as fast as possible. There must be another locomotive. Ooh, we just coupled it together. Oh, and I think we're pretty safe to do this. And another locomotive is going to be such as right in the back. Oh, Canada, let's go into the back as well. And it definitely coupled it. Some more Canadian Pacific locomotives. Right on to the end. There must be a few more. 2 more left. And which is going to be on to do so onto your left. And then this. Without any kinds of steam locomotives, we're going about to sound the horns. Which is we're going to be about to celebrate each day. I mean, we're going to be about to celebrate this day. I don't really think the locomotives is full on wheels. But this is going to be the 100 years. But definitely sounds like a Korean style. And we definitely going to be trying to do this. But what actually before the outro comes... But I really guess that we're just actually going to be added 1 more locomotive to go. And we're ready to sound the horns as very as possible. Unlike the most of them, we just spawn a GP40-2 LW and a CP-F7A and B script. Like this one for the CN100, ES44AC, and multiple for like these things. Canadian Nationals and Canadian Pacific locomotives are ready to sound the horns with the DCC controller. Alright, we're gonna be starting without further ado. Let's just hold this thing as well as literally fast as possible. As starting with this train with the ES44AC. We're starting with the CP or the Canadian Pacific as well. Requesting is absolutely accepted. And let's just sound the horn. We're just going to be clicking the bell. It absolutely does work. And would you pretty try to do so? Sound the horn. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Make sure this is going to be loud noises as well. As we're sounding like it's well. Because here we go. Let's just hit it on. That's not pretty itself. Let's just gonna be tried again. Let's just do it again for a little bit itself. Is it working? There it is. That completely works as well. So let's just move into another locomotive, 404. Another one, it should be, that sounds like a K5 LLA or the H5, K5LH, which just sounds like pretty itself. Or to do this, which is gonna be to sound like it's gonna be a good horn. Another one it is. Let's sound another loud noises warning. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, let's sound it out. Let's just do another here again. So let's just gonna be doing another attempt because I just actually said something. Another retake. That sounds pretty impressive. Let's check in another locomotive, and we're gonna be pressing the letter H 1 time. Or hold the horn. It does absolutely sounds like a single horn button sound like it does. Let's just see me it was. So let's just hear again. Another one for retake. There it goes. It's probably like it's completely short. And what about another one? It could be the GP9. So let's see what here it is. It does sound like the same horn as this. So it is also, I'm probably, the CPKC was also the same horn such as this. Here another one it is. It does sound like it really what it is. It took me for waiting for a little bit of seconds because it's just like similar to that locomotive and this locomotive, just like this one. That's not gonna work. That sounds pretty better such as this. Wait for it. That sounds pretty awesome like it where it was. So let's move into the Canadian National. There are multiple locomotives in this plot as we're going to be hearing about this GP9 locomotive requesting 1790. So here we go, single horn. Let's just hear it out in 3, 2, 1. Let's hear it. What about we hear one more? Ah, there it goes. Another locomotive could be for the SD40-2. Let's hear it once again. Hear it once again. This isn't gonna try to hear this once again. Alright, it's completely broken. Should we try to stop hearing this for this time as well? As we come to the class number 6200. There it goes. Another one, it should be absolutely the class 8000. Let's hear it goes to sound for the single horn. That sounds pretty good when I just remember here. And what about for the multiple SD40s, which it sounds which is definitely sound that's the same as this. I'm probably sure that is the same sound as the Canadian Pacific locomotives. What about for the EMD S7? Or let's move on to the EMD F7. We probably sure we're gonna be about to hear this. So let's hear the sound, and here we go. Yep, that sounds pretty loud as well. Another one is gonna be sounds. It's also similar to that double horns as the same chime that is actually going to be the locos are set. As we're going to be speaking about this, we're going to be hearing another one similar to this. Phew! Yikes! That sounds like a fart of horn. Farts of horn like this anything as well. So next up, we're moving into the GP9s since that the game was released. Let's hear the sounds of the horns of those trains, or like those K5LAs or something like that else. So here it goes, another one. 3, 2, 1, go. Wait for it. That sounds pretty obviously, and something is actually, it's just like the same horn such as this. Wait. Oh, there it is. This is another same like these things as well. What about for one more? It does absolutely sounds like the same it is. Should we stop absolutely savoring for that horn for it is? So let's just hear one more. That sounds pretty perfect. And finally, the ES44AC. Let's just hear it out for this loud sound warning. Turn the speakers up and you hear this train horn noise. In 3, 2, 1, let's hear it. It does sound like the same, it really was. And another one, it does sound like the same, such as the BNSF, like anything it does. And that is all of the train horns of the Canadian Pacifics and Canadian National. And we're able to end off for today's video, ended up in film. So if you like for today's video and about for some sort of a train horns, let's just turn off and place it to the number 0 as well, to Winniquinish as well. So don't forget to like and subscribe and click that bell. And the game is going to be linked in the description down below, because Vanos just hear me why that is completely loved it. So but as you can see this by the end of this video, but I'm currently sure that you just leave a like and subscribe and click that bell. Anyways, thanks for watching and for all your support, but unfortunately the free camera does not feel to do so well, because things are started to get so wrong about this. So I hopefully it does, having a great time for just about for the Canadian Day for just a little bit for do this. Happy Canada Day, and this is Turbo Concept is signing off, and probably I'll see you mini lads all later, but continuously that I'm just not gonna be doing for just about a little bit later.